cities, we have to still go the same bullshit route the other artists have had to go to get acceptance. If it wasn't for the independence, if it wasn't for the small little cities and the few little ghetto guys trying to make music, it would have never happened. Some of these guys will never make a dime. Some of these guys will be poor and die alone. But in the process, they've been the true renegades. And the true rebels always walk alone anyway. guys will never make a dime. But in the process, they've been the true renegades. And the true rebels always walk alone anyway.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the British Boring Car Championship once again for two fantastic races this evening. We're here at Donington Park, the scene of many a brilliant race in the real British Touring Car Championship. And let me first off start by apologising for the music reset in there. I wanted to just make sure that I had something set up with it. And usually the case is with OBS, you click on something, it's going to cause a pain in your backside. So, we're here then for rounds 11 and 12 of the championship, and well, what a fantastic season it's been so far. I can't believe how quickly we've got into the final couple of race meetings now. 8 race meetings in total, and we're here now at the 6th instalment of that. So, as you can see, decent conditions for these guys so far this evening. No real issues on track for anybody, and I think they're probably going to find it nice and easy around here, because last time out, when we had the 3rd and 4th, I believe, rounds of the championship, yeah, it was rounds 3 and 4. As we went there for that, these guys did tend to struggle quite a bit. So I think we're going to see a lot of decent action from these lot, and a bit more door-to-door racing. What do you reckon? But hello everybody in the comments and in the streams. Thank you for popping along this evening. Very grateful to see you all as always. And we are going to go over the points in just a second. I'm just trying to set something up in the background, as I probably should have beforehand, to be fair, but I was so excited by chatting away with the guys that we all got a bit carried away with it. Oh, apologies about that there. Had a lot of fun there with the stream. That just dropped out for a second. But anyway, we'll look at the championship standings, shall we? This is the information that everybody wants. And as you can see, it is Dennis Melcher once again top of the pile. He's been holding that for quite a while now, has Dennis, to be fair to him. Doing an absolutely incredible job. And well, we thought coming into this season that he was going to be quick. He's known as Lord of the Jetta or King of the Jetta, and he's proving that completely right there. And so he should. So he should, to be honest with you. He's pretty untouchable in a lot of these cars sometimes. Behind him though, Dave Waldock, 88 points. So he's not too far off him at the moment. Josh Rayfield is up to 3rd after another successful race meeting. Matt Draycott, top independent at the moment, 71 points to Steve Burke and Chris Coughlin, who are on 40 points, so 31 point difference for Matt there. Tom Jacobs, despite winning the sprint race at Snetterton, actually slipped down a spot in the standings to 5th, 69 points, with Michael Blake, of course, finally breaking his curse with these second races of the night, getting the race win, 62 points, so he's not far off in the championship fight either. Andy Fox 7th, Derek Robb up to 8th. Those two have been very, very quick this season. Niall Crowther and Morgan Butler just behind the two independents. And Fraser Smith, making his debut last week, has now 3 points in the championship. So he's going to be hoping for some more this time round. Practice is just coming to an end now. Here is your championship leader, Dennis Melcher, flinging the car over the curbs, absolutely launching them. Really launching them. And I hope the audio all sounds good, everybody. We are going to I'm going to turn the music off, because quite frankly it is a pain in the backside when it gets too loud. So there's that. Dennis though, fastest in practice at the moment, but as you see, only a tiny gap back to Josh Rayfield. Dave Waldock as well. He's only a tiny bit behind these guys as well, so it's still very close. And we thought as well that the standings were going to be close around here. I mean, look at Derek Robb and his teammate Morgan Butler. 20 thousandths of a second between the pair of them. They're very close together there in that midfield. Chris Coughlin is the top independent at the moment, ahead of Burke, Draycott and Ben Lambert. Niall Crowther is 1.4 seconds off the pace at the back of the pack at the moment for Dodgy MOT. Good evening, Ian Fox. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Here is Steve Burke then in the number 51, the independent machine, up through McLean's. Running a little bit wide there. Got Chris Coughlin then, 8th place at the minute. Doesn't look like we're going to get Tom Jacobs tonight, by the way, 5th in the championship. He's going to be losing some crucial championship points here, especially if the guys ahead of him in the standings have a good evening for it. But Josh Rayfield, I think you'll all agree, has been a real breath of fresh air this season. Josh has been fantastic to watch. Very, very exciting drives as Josh pulls the car over and the session has finished then. So you'll see it all tick over. The overlay will refresh, do its thing. The clouds have changed as well. And here we go then. I'm very good, thank you, Ian. Very good indeed, my friend. Thank you. Everyone's streaming out of the pits, and it's the two Dodgy MOT cars that are sat at the back waiting for a bit of clear air. Morgan Butler also waiting for that as well. He's got Carl Jacquelet just in front of him there leading the pits. Sorry, leaving the pits, I should say. Here's Derek Robb, just behind Dave Waldock. Those two very good friends. They have Fraser Smith in there as well. Fraser Smith in the lone Nodaphone car tonight. Like I say, his teammate and winner of race 1 this season, Tom Jacobs, unfortunately not with us for this round. Some of the guys flinging the car around just to try and get some temperature in the tyres. That was Chris Coughlin there, just doing that. Rob Lundgren just ahead of these guys. He's out there again tonight. Rob's picked up quite a bit of pace as the season has gone on, which has been nice to see. It's always good to see drivers improving as the season goes on. Ben Lambert having a bit of a moment there in the background. Not quite sure what happened to him, but he was having to avoid Steve Burke all of a sudden. You can see now the guy's just slowing down, trying to get a bit of clear air. That's Fraser Smith just waiting. We'll go on board with Fraser. We'll bring up the dashboard for you in the bottom right. Still not fixed that, have I? No, seems not. Fantastic. We'll do it live on air. You all know the phrase, F it, we'll do it live. So you will hear me typing around a little bit, but we are going to fix this live on air. Just you watch. Just you watch. Fraser then will guide you around a lap. Ben Lambert has got a much slower run out of there, though, it seems. And Fraser may get hindered here, although he actually doesn't lose out there by the look of it, so he's done a very, very good job of that one. Look at the bounce from these Volkswagen Jettas. It's unbelievable. There's that bit. We're going to add another bit in the CSS. This is all coding that I'm doing right now, and it's lots of fun. Ready? There you go. Fixed live on air. Ready for the Windows noise as we save the changes? There it is. Right then, back to it. Fraser Smith just coming out the final corner. Niall Crowther's gone fastest. 133.229. 119.4 for Dennis Melcher. Fraser Smith's car bouncing around all over the shop. Absolutely all over the shop. Crosses the line. Waldock's gone fastest to 119.3. Derek Robb just behind him. Fraser Smith goes 3rd. Morgan Butler goes into 5th place. Carl Jacquelet into 6th. 1.5 seconds off the pace. Niall Crowther, of course, that was an outlap. He is now 1 second off the pace in 7th position. The times still coming in. We'll bring the slide out lap times on here just so you can all see them all on the left hand side. We've got Rob Lundgren just part way round a lap ahead of that lot, the big rabble. Ben Lambert has apparently had an issue. He went off the circuit for 7 seconds. Let's have a look at what's going on here for Ben. Oh, wheel on the grass. Car gets sideways. Oh, just doesn't hold it as well as it comes back on, unfortunately. But Ben's still pushing then. Dennis Melcher at 1:19.145. He goes fastest. His teammate Lundgren does a personal best at 1:20.142. Steve Burke up there now as well at 1:20.4. Not seeing much of Matt Draycott yet. He's currently 5th. Fastest independent. Carl Jackalette goes into 6th. Coughlin does a 1:27.9, so something's not gone right there. Michael Blake goes up into 5th. The winner in round 10. Andy Fox goes 2nd. Brilliant from the dodgy MOT driver. He's going to be very pleased with that one. Andy has shown that he's quick around here. He was, I think, 2nd in one of the races when we came here last time, I believe, the sprint race. Don't forget, by the way, Dennis Melcher has had a 100% pole position record, except for Snetterton, where Fraser Smith made his debut and put it on pole straight away. But Dennis won both of the races here at Donington last time we were here, so he's certainly quick, but that was on the GP circuit. It depends how well composed he can stay on the national circuit with this chicane here. Bobbling around like mad. That's what these cars do. Of course, don't forget we have 2 weeks until the next rounds of the championship, the penultimate race meeting from Brands Hatch Indy on the 30th of July. And then it's another 2 weeks until the final. As things stand, David Addison will be returning to the commentary box for those 2 last race meetings as well, and I'm very excited to be working with David again. It's been brilliant to have him in the box. It's been so well received. Everybody has absolutely loved hearing his voice on this championship, and what a voice as well. So we hope that that comes around very, very soon. I certainly am excited about it as well. This is Josh Rayfield, who is yet to put a time in the Team Netcode car. 3rd in the championship at the moment is Josh Rayfield. But the big shiny green machine, not quite up there as things stand. But it's Melcher, Fox and Waldock, all very close together. It seems like Steve Burke's got the attentions of Waldock and Fraser Smith there with him. Fraser pushing very hard indeed around the right-hander at Coppice. Over the little crest. And yes, Ian, I can confirm, mate, there will be another season. There's no planned dates or anything in yet, or anything set in stone, but there is certainly a second season in the works. I really do want to do this again, so that will happen. Fraser Smith goes 2nd, a 1:19.178, just 32 thousandths off Dennis Melcher. So Fraser showing that he really does have some great pace. Josh Rayfield does put a time and goes 10th fastest with a 1:20.018. Just look how close those times are, though. The top 5 not even covered by 0.2 of a second. And Ben says his shoulder's giving him grief. This is not good for Ben. Really hope you're alright, mate. Dennis Melcher is now on an outlap again. He wants to push this Jetta to the limit, and he wants to maintain his not perfect record, but he wants to maintain a good record, let's say, with these pole positions. Morgan Butler was a bit further up the order earlier on in the session, but he's actually dropped down a little bit now. He's into 9th place. Draycott, the only independent in the top 10. But we've got both the Team Jane Fonda cars, both of the Team Netcode cars, both of the Might Just Fit machines as well, all in the top 10. And then, of course, one Vodafone car, one Ericsson Hitters car, an independent, and Andy Fox in the dodgy MOT entry. Josh Rayfield goes third. That's more like it, he says. That is more like it. Climbs up the order. Gets the team netcode machine right up there now. 56,000s covering the top three. That's fantastic stuff. Nobody into the 118s yet. So we'll have to wait and see. Dave Waldock, he was actually leading the feature race here last time, I believe, after the pit stops. And him and Dennis had contact coming down the crane of curves here, just as you go round to the left. And unfortunately, that ended David's race. Well, his chase for the lead, anyway. We're hoping not to see the same again. Carl Jacquelet sat in the top 10 at the moment. He'll be wanting some points tonight, I think, is the aim for Carl. He's only got one championship point to his name at the moment. But he still turns up every week, puts the effort in, and shows us some great racing, so very grateful for Carl's persistence. That's what you need in this championship. Steve Burke, unfortunately, at the moment, has dropped right down the times, but we saw him come in the pits earlier, so I think that he's going to be putting in a lap now. This isn't an out lap. This will be a timed lap. He's got the two might just fit cars behind him on track, so let's see what Steve can do. Where's he going to push that independent machine? He improves 120.090 into 12th place, so he's faster than Chris Coughlin, the other independent in that fight with him and Matt Draycott. Michael Blake now just behind Steve on track. Has got his teammate Dave Waldock just behind him as well. Michael with some reinvigorated eagerness and some new hope as Morgan Butler goes up to 8th with the 119.7, just 8 thousandths of a second off Michael Blake, who we're looking at now. But yeah, Michael Blake has got some hope back now in his championship fight after taking the feature race win. 25 points on offer for the feature race, don't forget. The point system will change for the next season, by the way. There is going to be a couple of differences to the format, and maybe the points will be slightly levelled out a bit. We've had a couple of instances where drivers would have a bad race one, but it would really help them in race two and give them quite an easy haul of points in the championship. So I haven't seen any proof of people employing tactics to have a bad race one for a good race two yet. Steve Burke actually goes fastest independent and just gets 7th place taken away from him there by Michael Blake. So Steve Burke improves to 8th position. Great lap from him, very well done. And it's so close out there, 7/10 of a second covering all 12 cars. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As Dennis Melchert's gone off, so is Rob Lunger. And Fraser Smith goes fastest. Wow. Andy Fox must have been helping him around that. Actually, that's Niall Crowther just in front, so Niall must have been giving him some sort of slipstream, but that's brilliant from Fraser Smith. And unfortunately, Ian, the guest driver program as such has been canned this season, I'm afraid. We will not be returning to that idea, unfortunately. But Fraser Smith, though, he's showing so far that he definitely is the man for qualifying. 1/10 of a second faster than Dennis Melcher, and what a brilliant time that is. As he decides to do a bit of Paris-Dakar there. Morgan Butler has gone up into 8th position now. So they might just fit cars on the Team Jane Fonda cars are all together on the grid on the left-hand side there. You can just see the tiny difference between the reds and oranges I've given them. You see Morgan just trying to avoid the curbs there and play it really safe. Although he decides to come in the pits. Here's Carl Jacquelet just going up towards McLean's. Good evening, Fordy. Good to see you, mate. How are you doing? You okay? Yeah, just to revisit your question, Ian, we were going to have 3 or 4 guest drivers over the second half of the season, but we've unfortunately canned that idea. We just don't want people to be messing with drivers' championships and such, but just to increase the numbers on the grid, there will be more entries next season. You'll see news of that at some point soon on the Chaz Draycott media pages, whether that be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram even, so do keep your eye out on those. There's Derek Robb there, just getting out of the way of Carl Jackalette at the side of the circuit. But what a top 4 we've got, what a top 5 we've got at the moment. Dave Waldock in 5th position, in the Might Just Fit car. Andy Fox just ahead of him in the dodgy MOT car. Then it's Josh Rayfield 3rd in the championship, 3rd in qualifying at the moment. Then championship leader Dennis Melcher in the Ericsson Hitters car 2nd, and Fraser Smith, newcomer to the championship after Snetterton. He bagged only 3 points despite putting it on pole position, but he is doing a cracking job for Nodaphone at the moment, where Jack Werrell unfortunately had to leave the championship due to other commitments. He is actually broadcasting right now on Sim Racers World TV, so I do hope that is going well for those guys. But Tom Jacobs unfortunately not able to join us this evening. Well, that was Niall Crowther having a bit of an excursion there down the Craners. I think is he just letting that roll, or is he accelerating? No, he is bringing the car to a halt. Here's his teammate Andy Fox crossing the line. Ben Lambert just behind as well. Ben is still pushing the car around in the session. He manages to improve his time, but he says he's having a bit of grief with his shoulder. Thanks very much, Jay. Good to see you, mate. I know you may not be watching because you're in the car, but fair play, mate. Fair play to the commitment. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I hope you're well, and I hope you have a nice trip wherever you are headed. Well, Steve Burke and Matt Draycott are going to be starting together on the grid. You can see Steve just down the inside of his independent rival, Ben Lambert, there. But yeah, Steve and Matt will be starting together on the grid, which will be certainly very interesting for those guys. Matt is 31 points clear at the top of the independent standings, but it's Fraser Smith that has taken pole position, or has he? Let's have a look here. Dennis Melchert's just about to cross the line. I don't want to have jinxed it. Has Dennis improved? No, I think he only got an outlap in, or it wasn't a lap that counted, so he must have had an incident point or something. So yes, it is Fraser Smith that takes his 2nd pole position of the season, and what is going to be 1 championship point for him, so he now has 4 championship points. But we're in for another great racing evening here at Donington Park. It always provides good racing, and the national layout as well. We'll probably get a couple of extra laps in this race, or these races, compared to last time we were here. It is just the 2 Ericsson Hitters cars on track at the moment, Rob Lundgren and Dennis Melcher. The only 2 non-British drivers in the field as well, and Rob is Swedish and driving a Volvo, so you can figure out the irony. So, pole position then, Fraser Smith alongside Dennis Melcher, with Josh Rayfield and Andy Fox on row 2. Dave Waldock and Derek Robb. Really good qualifying from Derek. He's improved so much this season. He's in 6th. Michael Blake 7th with Morgan Butler in 8th. Then we have Steve Burke and Matt Draycott, Carl Jackalette and Rob Lundgren, followed by Chris Coughlin, Niall Crowther and Ben Lambert rounding out the back of the field. As we said, no Tom Jacobs this evening. I'll turn the music off already because we are ready for a race. And here we go then. Round 11 of the British Boring Car Championship from Donington Park is away. And it looks like a really good start this time from Dennis Melcher. He said this season that his starts haven't been fantastic. Look how single file they're all staying. Well, I say single file, 2x2. They're staying in formation. Dennis tries to carry it around the outside and he's got the pace. Rob Lundgren was in the middle. Looks like 3 wide going into turn 1, but he's all right. He's got out of that, but the race leaders are side by side going down the Craner curves. Let's see what this turns out to show us. almost leaning on each other down there. Really feisty stuff from Dennis Melchett. Fraser Smith's got the inside line, but he's compromised, and Dennis Melchett is going to try and go through. He's going to run wide. Josh Rayfield puts his nose between the two of them. There's contact again. I tell these boys not to go 3 wide, and he shouldn't have done it. Fraser Smith and Dennis Melchett once again are off the circuit due to a 3 wide incident. Oh, I think Dennis might have hit Rob Lundgren there, who's going to go off as well, but it's Dave Waldock to the front of the pack. Derek Robb is second. Michael Blake is third, and Andy Fox is in 4th position, and he's actually where he started in this race. Steve Burke now down the inside. Steve's gained 4 places. Carl Jackolet's up there after gaining 5. What a fantastic start by some of those guys. But once again, boys, 3 wide doesn't need to happen, and it causes incidents. Andy Fox and Steve Burke in the 2 blue and yellow cars here, rubbing panels. Oh, and Carl's gone late on the brakes into the back of Andy Fox. A little bit of a tap there as well with Steve Burke. Josh Rayfield goes through. Draycott and Coughlin are close together there as well. But it's David Waldock who leads this race then. His teammate Derek Robb in 2nd position. Sorry, not his teammate. His very good friend Derek Robb. His teammate's 3rd. That's Michael Blake. Then you've got Andy Fox with this train of cars behind him. Look at them all bobbling around through Redgate. Jackolet was slightly sideways there. Not sure whether that was his own doing. But Dennis Melchett has got through now. Dennis is starting his comeback here. And so is Fraser Smith. But to be honest, Josh Rayfield was the cause of that incident in my mind. He didn't need to make it 3 wide, and I've told a lot of these boys this season, you don't have to make it 3 wide, it just causes accidents. And we've seen it happen before. Rob Lundgren, I think, has just gone into the back of Ben Lambert there, a little bit of contact. Ben's made up a few places so far. Into McLean's he goes. Carrying the speed here compared to Fraser as well. Niall Crowther on the back of Rob Lundgren as well. Into Coppice. Chris Coughlin just behind, and then Morgan Butler as well. He lost 7 places at the start as Morgan. Not quite sure what caused that there. But very close throughout the whole field here. Rob Lundgren and Ben Lambert. Oh, I think Ben might have got a slow down through Coppice. Yeah, and he's had to slow down there and give the time back. But at the front, Derek Robb here is chasing Dave Waldock. Dave Waldock hasn't won a race yet this season, and he's still 2nd in the championship. Derek Robb does the fastest lap of the race. Andy Fox does the fastest lap of the race, 1:19.4. He's down the inside of Michael Blake, and Josh Rayfield down the inside of Steve Burke. That's shoulders to shoulder stuff. Steve may be squeezing him a little bit. Josh putting his nose down the inside somewhere. Steve doesn't want it. Still side by side down the Craners. Josh feisty as ever. Almost a little tap into the back of Steve Burke there. You got Matt Draycott and Dennis Melchett waiting behind. Carl Jackolet is defending fiercely from Fraser Smith. Oh, in the background there, Morgan Butler wobbling around all over the place. Goes between Niall Crowther and Chris Coughlin. Looks like Ben Lambert might be having a bit of grief with that shoulder again, unfortunately. He's dropped off a little bit. So many battles going on here. We've got Josh Rayfield, Matt Draycott just behind him. Little bit of damage on the front left of Matt's car. We will go back and have a look at the start incident in a little bit. But it's so close here between Jackolet, Fraser Smith and Rob Lundgren. They're 3 wide again. Into the chicane. Fraser Smith thinks no thank you. No thank you indeed. Oh, Josh Rayfield is off. Josh Rayfield, a lot of damage on the car. Oh, he comes across the... Oh, wow. That was very risky there. Just in front of his teammate and into the pit lane he goes. What happened to Josh Rayfield there? Let's have a look. Was it his own doing? Was he helped? Oh, wow. Wow. Too much two-wheel action there for Josh Rayfield. And bang into the wall. Look at that rejoin. That's very sketchy stuff there from Josh, admittedly. I don't think he's going to have made too many friends this race. Oh, Rob Lundgren's gone way off the circuit at the old hairpin. Niall Crowther doing the same in the background. Morgan Butler's got Fraser Smith and Chris Coughlin all over the back of him as well. Fraser needs to try and catch the Might Just Fit cars in the Teams Championship here for Nodaphone. Oh, that'll be a slowdown for Niall Crowther, surely. He took loads of curb. Look at this though, from onboard Niall. It's just a train of Volkswagen Jettas in front. Still brilliant. The incident on the first lap was completely unnecessary in all honesty, but look at the racing we have going on between these guys. It's fantastic. There's cars all over the shop in front. Bit of a wiggle on the brakes, make sure you don't take too much curve. Fraser Smith takes plenty of it. He's off on the grass on the right hand side. Chris Coughlin moves over to the left a little bit to leave him some space. It looks like Chris is going to get that done down the straight. So Fraser's race going bad to worse here. Morgan is watching this battle between Jackalette and Lundgren, the two of them wobbling towards each other on the brakes. Carl trying to give him all the room. Oh, Andy Fox and Michael Blake are swapping places. Steve Burke's in there as well to try and have a fight. Oh, Steve sideways through the old hairpin. We need to look back for this as well, because Lundgren and Jackalette are still rubbing panels with each other, still making contact. Morgan Butler's in there, Chris Coughlin's in there as well now. Look at these lot. This is for 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th and 13th, because Niall Crowther's in this as well. Oh, there's contact between Coughlin and Fraser Smith. Coughlin's around, there's contact just in front as well between Butler and Jackalette, I believe. Morgan not really leaving any room there. Carl turns in, bit of contact. They're wide again. Carl's on the grass. Lundgren's on the grass. Fraser Smith is on the grass. Get on the track, boys. I just want to see what happened with Chris Coughlin. Probably better going on the chopper cam. Butler and Lundgren leaning on each other. Oh, just front wheel to front wheel contact as Chris ran wide. Jackalette closes the door on Butler, I think, there. Let's just have another look at it. That was a bit early on. Watch the white and red car on the top of your screen. Little bit of a touch there with Rob Lundgren. Yeah, Morgan is down the inside. Carl just doesn't leave the room on the apex. And Morgan Butler now up to 8th position there. And there's a change for the lead. Derek Robb gets past Dave Waldock. Dave must have had a slowdown. And Derek Robb leads this race for Team Jane Fonda. Waldock second, Blake third. He's having a great turnaround in his championship. Fox is fourth, and Draycott has got ahead of Steve Burke. This was for the independent lead. They're side by side into Redgate. Oh, Steve has to just back out of the corner there to not make contact with Andy Fox. They're side by side out of turn one. These two are going to be teammates in the upcoming World GT Championship. And then Matt just gets ahead down the Craners and into the old hairpin. Steve backs out of it as to not make contact. Nicely done. But he's still only got 0.4 of a second. Then Dennis Melcher is behind them as well in 7th place. And then there's this lot still fighting. You've got Niall Crowther and Rob Lundgren side by side in there as well. That's the Ericsson Hitters machine. Niall Crowther's carried the pace there, and round the outside he's going to go. That was a great run out of Redgate for Niall Crowther. Beautiful stuff. Can he get this done though as they go down the hill? The two of them swapping places on the timing screen as they go in front of each other one by one. They both turn in nicely. Niall's going to get a good run out the corner there. And he's going to get it done, you know, as they go through the left-hander. Fraser Smith hasn't been able to sort of progress anywhere in this race so far, unfortunately. He's outside of the points at the moment. Matt Draycott, though, is very close to Steve Burke. There is the Burke behind us. Almost 10 minutes into the race now. Only a third of it left to go. Matt in the Arena International liveried car runs a bit wide through the first part of the chicane. Steve gets a very good run out of there. Steve goes to the left, Matt covers, so Steve goes to the right. Tiny bit of an overlap. What can he manage here? Make sure that Matt uses all the circuit. Matt cuts the nose off it, says not on your life. I'm going to hold on to this independent lead and open my championship gap even further. He'll get one more point than Steve for that position, so the points in the sprint race not as important, but still important all the same. They are championship points at the end of the day. And interestingly enough, these pair are staying in touch with Andy Fox just ahead of them. So he's not off in the distance. Steve climbing all over the back of Matt Draycott's car, but still can't get it to work. Here's Fraser Smith still trying to get past Rob Lundgren. Oh, nearly contact there. Rob runs a bit wide through the left as Fraser tries to sort of cut back on him. He's trying it again. Still can't make it work though. Still can't get past the Swede. Needs to be careful of Rob braking a bit early there so he doesn't make contact with the back of him. Oh, that looks like it's going to be a slowdown. Is it? Chris Coughlin's in the pit lane. And yeah, it was a slowdown for Fraser Smith, so he's going to lose the place to Carl Jackalette. Chris Coughlin is in the pit lane though, unfortunately. That's looking like a very poorly car. Andy Fox now is under pressure from Matt Draycott, who's managed to catch up to him. Goes down the inside, and Steve Burke wants a bit of this as well. Steve chucks the car in there, takes plenty of curb. And Matt Draycott now moves up into 4th place. He's gained 6 positions after starting 10th on the grid. He's the biggest mover in the field at the moment. He'll be very happy with that. Ahead of him, Michael Blake having a bit of a lonely race, but he'll again be pleased with that one because it's not a tough one for him. And he's going to get a podium out of it. Back at the front though, Derek Robb is now only 0.3 of a second ahead of Dave Waldock, who is still chasing his first win in the championship. It's his perfect opportunity to just gain a couple more points back on Dennis Melcher. But he's not taking that race win as things stand. Derek Robb, though, has run wide out of Coppice, and Dave has got the opportunity. Side by side down the straight, and he's got the lead. Brilliant. Very, very well done for Dave Waldock there. Back into the race lead. Puts him into the position that he wants, that they all want. But Derek Robb now, he's got the run out of the final corner as well. So these pair, sparring partners, pushing each other around. In the background, Andy Fox has got the attentions of Steve Burke all over the back of him as well. Side by side down the straight, Steve decides to get back in the slipstream. Matt's chasing after Michael Blake here. Matt is putting in some very fast times, a 20.5 for Matt, 21.4 for Michael Blake. So let's keep an eye on Draycott, because he is getting the job done at the moment in this Arena International car. Brilliant drive. And maybe slightly biased being his brother, but yeah, as Ian Fox has rightly said in the chat, Matt is rapid around here. Really looks like it, doesn't it? Let's stay on board and see what he can do this lap. As you can see, it's all about carrying the momentum. Matt changed down a gear a little bit there just to try and rev the car out a bit more. Through Coppice they go, chucks it in. With how aggressive he's been on the steering, I'm just wondering whether he's going to be hurting the tyres at all. Morgan Butler's got Niall Crowther and Rob Lundgren right behind him. These guys all in the points at the moment though, so they don't want to ruin their chances of scoring some championship points. Ben Lambert is unfortunately out of the race, I'm afraid. Looks like Chris Coughlin is as well. Niall looks down the inside of Morgan. Oh, he's going to have gone deep in there. Then Rob Lundgren's going to try and take this back off him. Cuts to the left. Side by side they go. You can see in the background as well, Steve Burke still hasn't got past Andy Fox. That's Carl Jackalette behind these guys on track. Josh Rayfield just coming onto the straight. He's got Fraser Smith behind him in 13th position. Oh, that's Crowther wide out of turn 1, and Rob Lundgren's got the place. Opportunistic as ever from Rob Lundgren. And Matt Draycott has lost a lot of time through the old hairpin here. Steve Burke tries to come through. There's contact with Andy Fox. And Burke goes through. Steve now up into 5th place. Not sure who the contact was on there, really. Whether Andy just washed out a bit wide, whether Steve squeezed him. Didn't seem like he did so. But he's not lost touch with this, though, as Andy. We have 25 seconds, 20 seconds of the race to go. So this means that the next lap will be the last one for these guys. It's Dave Waldock, at the moment, on his way to his first win of the championship. However, oh, is Andy Fox, please tell me he's not coming in the pit lane. He is. Andy's had no luck here at Donington Park all season. And he's once again in the pit lane. Whether that is a drive-through for damage or whether it's a meatball flag. Sorry, a drive-through for incident points. Yeah, it must be. He's going straight through. So yeah, he has hit the incident limit, I'm afraid. That hands a championship point to everybody that's gone past. Carl Jackalette now into the standings as well, into the points. In 10th place, but this is your battle for the race lead then. Waldock may finally be on his way to a race win, but Derek Robb, even though he's one of his best mates, is probably going to try and stop him here. The two of them fly around McLean's. In the background as well, by the way, Michael Blake has got Matt Draycott and Steve Burke all over him, but we need to stick with this fight for the lead because this is going to be very important. Because Dave Waldock is trying to catch Dennis Melchett in the championship. He's going to gain 6 points on him, sorry, 5 points. If the race finishes as it is, there's only one chicane left to go. What can Derek do? He's 4 tenths back. I don't think it's going to be enough, and it gives me great pleasure to say that finally Dave Waldock wins round 11 in the British Boring Car Championship. Derek Robb takes a brilliant second place, and Steve Burke is off the circuit into the final chicane. Draycott's gone through, Blake gets a podium, and Dennis Melchett is going to gain another point from that. Very well done to Dennis Melchett, and can Morgan Butler beat Steve Burke to the line? He's going to be chasing him, but I don't think he's going to do it. And was that Niall Crowther coming in the pits as well? Did he reach the incident limit? Oh my goodness me, these lot, I tell you. We give him an incident limit for a reason, boys, but there is your race winner, Dave Waldock. And yes, this is a slowdown lap apparently, but Dave Waldock finally wins in the British Boring Car Championship. We'll have a look at what happened to Steve Burke. Again, boys, 3 wide. Steve's on the outside. He turns into the side of Michael. He turns in early. And it flings him off the track. Let's have a look from the chopper cam. So they're 3 wide. Draycott breaks early, gets out of it. Yeah, Steve turns in, maybe a bit early, and into the side of Michael. And loses out big time there. But Michael Blake holds on for a podium. Wow, what a race though. What a lively race. We will go back as well and have a look at the incident at the start. Because we need to see what happened here, don't we? So you've got Fraser Smith in the white car on the right, Dennis Melchett on the left. Josh Rayfield puts his nose between the pair of them. Doesn't have to. And they all keep their feet in as well, and they all bounce and bobble around on the walls. Morgan Butler tries to get out of it. Rob Lundgren goes off to try and avoid the incident. What a save by Rob Lundgren. Well, Morgan Butler seemingly lost loads of places in the first couple of laps. Somehow, I'm not quite sure what he did. Whether he might have got a slowdown penalty or something. Yeah, it looks like he's got one at that point. He's going very slowly. Oh yeah, we did see that actually live, didn't we? We saw Morgan slow down. However, here is your race 1 result then. So Dave Waldock takes that win. Derek Robb finally, another podium for him actually. In the end, he can be very pleased with that one, to be honest with you. Michael Blake finishes in 3rd, another podium for him. Just ahead of Matt Draycott. Lead independent once again, opens that gap up. Dennis Melchett 5th means that he doesn't lose too many points there to Dave Waldock. Steve Burke in 6th. He'll be a bit annoyed at himself for the final incident at the end of that race. Morgan Butler a good 7th place. Lundgren getting some points there in 8th. Carl Jacquelet, he gets 2 more championship points now. Good to see Carl back in the points. Andy Fox does manage to still get a point in 10th. Josh Rayfield 11th. Fraser Smith in 12th. With Niall Crowther 13th, and then Chris Coughlin and Ben Lambert, the 2 independents, 6 laps and 8 laps down, so they will not be eligible for the reverse grid. We are just going to run that now and see what we get. It's anywhere between 10 to 16. So I'm just going to press the delete button. Ready? I'm going to put the mic right next to it for you so you can hear me press it, and we'll hold it. And let go. And it's 10. So Andy Fox, despite the damage, manages to grab pole position for the feature race. Josh Rayfield and Fraser Smith just missing out, unfortunately. But Jacquelet will start on the front row with him. Rob Lundgren and Morgan Butler will make up row 2, sorry. And then it'll be Steve Burke and the rest. So what a first race of the night now. What did you all think of that? I hope you enjoyed that one. Certainly was a lot of fun. But we're just going to get the second race set up for you then. Just going to give you the beautiful images that we've taken so far this season. Apologies for the aspect ratio. Don't blame me. And we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes' time.
So let's forget about tomorrow, live for tonight while we're free.
Little update from behind the scenes as well, by the way. We are not going to see Ben Lambert in race 2, I'm afraid. He is injured his shoulder in that race. He has had a bit of an issue all season with said shoulder, and it's given him quite a lot of jip at the moment, I'm afraid. So we will not be seeing him return in race 2. But we'll get the session underway and get it all ready to go for you. So in not too long, we'll have another race for you in late afternoon settings as well. So this is going to look very pretty for you all. So get ready for an absolute belter, because another feature race in the British Boring Car Championship is coming right up. Dust we will awaken, and life will fill our veins. But these are the moments that we live for. I can keep it inside of me. Touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. Okay, so the session is just launching now, everybody. The drivers are making their way in. I'll be back with you in a few minutes for round 12 of the British Boring Car Championship. And I tell you what, actually, somebody that I do really want to have a word with after that, he's finally got his first win of the season, and I hope he's there, because I'm going to build up to this a lot. His microphone's lit up, so I know he's there. Mr. Waldock, you must be absolutely overjoyed, mate. You've finally got that win that you've deserved for so long, and for it to happen at Donington as well, where you were so close last time.
I'm so overjoyed. I thought I wasn't going to get it. I actually got a slow down part of the way through.
Yeah, we caught that because Derek just went straight past you down the straight, and I thought, oh no, that's it, because Derek seemed like he had good pace.
He definitely had good pace. We were kind of trying to work together to get that, slipstream away from everyone. So I think it worked quite well actually, because we kind of pulled a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly helped you at the end as well, and like you say, when you got that slowdown, you didn't lose as much from it. So it was a good situation to be in, but you must feel like a weight's been lifted, though, mustn't you?
I do. I mean, it was a shame that that kind of contact at the start with Dennis, Josh, and Fraser.
Yeah.
I didn't really see exactly what happened, but it was a bit of a shame because they had quick pace and yeah. But I mean, it's good for standing points. So I don't know if I'm in first overall. I must be very close now.
Yeah, in the obviously the sprint races you don't get as many points, unfortunately. Hate to bring it up now, but
yeah,
you get 10 points for winning that. But Dennis was 5th in the end, I think, so you gained 5 points on him, so it closed the gap up. But it'll have to be a bit more of the same in the feature race, unfortunately, buddy.
That's all right. Well, I'll try and do it as well as I can. My dog's cheering me on now.
Fantastic. Well, great stuff, David, and hopefully I'll speak to you a bit later when you win this one.
Cool, thanks, Chaz.
See you in a bit, mate.
See ya.
Dave Waldock there, race 1 winner. What a great guy. Such a lovely bloke as well, and very deserving of the race win. So I'm just getting a couple of things admin-wise sorted out with the session here, so if you just bear with me 2 minutes, I'll be right back with you, and we will crack on. Oh, and actually, I tell you what, he's always up for an interview, so we'll drag him in again because we like putting him off during his practice. Matt Draycott joins us in the box.
Hello.
Matt, you'll be very happy with that first one, 10th to 4th. That was a great drive.
That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, it was good. Very respectful from all the boys, from Josh, Steve, Andy Fox, Derek. Not Derek. Blake. That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to drive and
Think of drivers' names.
yes, it's not going really well, is it? But yeah, no, it was good. Really enjoyed that. By the feel of things, though, this is going to be quicker because this track is a lot cooler.
Yeah, it should be a bit more grippy than the one in the first race. So hopefully you guys have a bit more confidence behind the wheel here.
Oh, we don't need any more of that.
What did you see much of the contact in the first race then? That obviously caused the incident at the start.
No, the one with Dennis. No,
Yes.
I was behind someone,
Okay.
Steve,
Oh,
and I couldn't see.
Oh right.
I saw them both hit the wall and come back, flying back on. But other than that, no.
And we saw the incident with Steve and Michael at the end of that as well, where you slammed on and just thought, no, I'm getting out of that.
I'm not happening. Yeah, I
Yeah.
said to Steve, I was like, this isn't happening, Steve.
Yeah.
No chance.
It's
I was
your
like, have
fault.
it. And then yeah, Steve just turned in a bit earlier than Blake, so.
Yeah, we've seen these
Sorted
cars
himself out.
bounce around a lot, haven't we? When they make wheel-to-wheel contact, it happened to Chris Cobden
yeah.
as well. So it's he took the risk in trying to make the move, and unfortunately, it just didn't pay off. But yeah, it looks like good racing so far tonight. So hopefully, enjoy this.
Yeah,
second
it's
one.
good.
Well, we shall speak to you in a bit then, mate.
Alright, no worries.
Cracking.
Cheers.
Matt Draycott there, currently leading the Independence Championship by quite some margin now over Steve Burke. Dave Waldock here, race 1 winner then. He's going to be over the moon to have taken that win. Just bear with me 2 seconds, everybody, because we seem to have an issue with the cameras again. I did edit them in the previous session, but it seems like the changes haven't saved, which is always iRacing's agenda. It doesn't like saving anything that I've done. So let me just figure that out for you, and I'll be right back in 1 second.
When I think of
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you very much for your patience on that. Just sorting out some of the cameras, because I had one over here on this part of the track that we're looking at now where it was a bit further back, and it looked very pretty, so thought we'd go back to that. Andy Fox is fastest in the warm-up at the moment in the dodgy MOT car. Of course, him and Niall both fell foul to the incident point limit in race 1 and unfortunately had drive-through penalties. But we give these boys a low threshold on that because we don't want too much of the argy-bargy. There was quite a lot of it in race 1. Of course, Dennis Melcher losing out because of that. But Josh Rayfield and Fraser Smith, they may not have had a good race 1, and we've seen some of the guys have a strong race 2 from near the front of the grid. And obviously more points on offer in the feature race. However, that is not going to be the case for these boys tonight. They have missed out on the reverse grid pole, and it's going to be Andy Fox on pole position. He's going to have Carl Jacquelet alongside him in the Team Netcode car. Don't forget as well, a mandatory pit stop in this second race. The guys are given less fuel in this race than they are in the first race to make sure they cannot make it to the end. So we should see them pit in between lap 4 and lap 10. The earliest they can pit is the end of lap 4. And they are not allowed to pit from the end of lap 11 onwards. So we do have an implied pit lane window. Here's Steve Burke just coming out of the old hairpin. Steve had a bit of a rough ride in the end of the first race, as we all saw. I would drag him in for a quick interview, but we don't have very long left of the session, so we're going to let these guys get on with it. I really do hope you've all been enjoying the British Boring Car Championship so far, whether you're watching on Twitch, Facebook or YouTube. We do have a second season being planned, but due to other commentary commitments I can't guarantee when that will be yet, I'm afraid. But there's plenty of exciting stuff building up to that as well. Wow, look at that, Steve. Wow. That was a lot of time in the air there for Steve Burke. Hang time, they call it. But yeah, we have exciting stuff planned for season 2 and in the build-up, so there's going to be a lot to watch and a lot to listen to, so don't you worry, you will all be entertained as thoroughly as possible by me, Mr. Chaz Draycott. And Steve pulls the car over. That will be the end of that then, and we'll wait for things to change over for the grid, and there we go then. So Andy Fox on pole, alongside him Carl Jacquelet, then it's Rob Lundgren and Morgan Butler, Steve Burke and Dennis Melcher, Matt Draycott, Michael Blake, Derek Robb, Dave Waldock, Josh Rayfield, Fraser Smith, Niall Crowther and Chris Coughlin. And we're going to shut the music up. We're going to get things underway already here. And round 12 of the British Boring Car Championship from Donington Park is away. Plenty of smoke off the line. Really good start from Andy Fox. Carl Jacquelet's gone a bit backwards there. He's got Morgan Butler on his left-hand side, just on the outside into Redgate. Let's have a quick look at what these boys do here. Morgan hangs it around the outside, does it nice and safe. Matt Draycott having a bit of a wobble there. Dennis Melcher way out wide. Derek Robb's gone slowly on the inside. Michael Blake through the middle. The hole shot there for Michael Blake. Pushes the car through the middle. Steve Burke's gone flying off the circuit again. Massive accident for Steve Burke. We'll have to come back and revisit that one. Andy Fox leads the way though. Lundgren second, side by side behind him Jacquelet and Morgan Butler. Then Matt Draycott trying to defend from Derek Robb and Michael Blake. No clue what happened to Steve there. It looked again like it was front wheel to front wheel contact, which we've seen and discussed with Matt earlier, that it spits the cars around so aggressively. So unfortunately, Steve has fallen foul to that, and that is going to be a big dent in his independent championship title fight. Matt Draycott here can't really defend from Derek Robb. It looks like Derek's got some great pace. Josh Rayfield just squeezing the nose off Michael Blake there in the mid-pack. But it's a 25-minute race, this one, so these boys you'd think would be more chilled going into the start of this. But it's the British Boring Car Championship. Things are never chilled here. Honestly, the cars may be a bit dull, but wow, the racing certainly isn't. Niall Crowther now side by side with Fraser Smith. Morgan Butler side by side with Carl Jacquelet. This is for second place. These two chasing race leader Andy Fox. Carl Jacquelet gets plenty of air on the right hand side of the car. Matt Draycott forced out wide. Michael Blake a bit sideways as well. Not sure whether there was contact to help Matt along there. Dennis Melcher's trying to get in on this as well. He wants to get past Josh Rayfield, who of course was the catalyst for the incident in the first race. So Dennis is going to be wary. That was Chris Coughlin just behind Niall Crowther. He's going to be taking it easy, just trying to get some points on the board. Oh, and there's a car off, and it's Morgan Butler. Morgan's off. Not sure whether he got any help. Let's have a look. Side by side with Jackalette. Carl keeps him to the inside, and again, a bit of a... Oh, more front wheel to front wheel contact. Great recovery, though, from Morgan, but unfortunately way down the order now. That's Jackalette then, second place with Lundgren and Derek Robb. Looking very good tonight is Derek Robb. He's been climbing the championship bit by bit, and he's going to try and continue to do so. He runs a little bit deep there, just trying to avoid Lundgren. Blake's in there as well, so is Rayfield. Sounds like Smith got into Waldock. These cars are honestly just bobbling around all over the place. We'll turn the car volume up a little bit so you can hear them a bit better. Look at this lot in the middle. Josh Rayfield side by side with Derek Robb. Matt Draycott, Michael Blake down the inside. Dennis Melcher's on the outside. Draycott's car's having a massive disco dance partway around the corner. Look at them, they're all still so close together, and this is the feature race. This isn't the sprint race, but they're treating it like one. Fraser Smith's watching at the back of all this. Blake sideways down the Crater curves. Dennis Melcher's going to try and go through. He's on the outside now into the old hairpin. There's a car sideways in front. There's smoke anyway. Who's that going down the order? Jackalette's off. Derek Robb's off. Draycott's off. Rayfield's going to try and go through again. This is the whole field. The whole field. Except for Steve Burke, Morgan Butler and the race leader Andy Fox. Look at all of them together around Redgate. Not Redgate, McLean's. Absolutely amazing. Let's have a quick look back at what happened between Robb and Jackalette. Oh, actually, it was in front. Derek Robb just had to take to the grass to avoid it all. It was Lundgren and Jackalette that made the contact. Oh, and again, the two of them give each other room, boys. Oh, Matt Draycott sends it over the chicane, gets contact with Lundgren. What did he expect? Blake's in there as well. There's more contact with Lundgren and Waldock as well. Please don't tell me they're four wide. They're four wide down the straight. Oh, close your eyes. Steve Burke's at the back of this train. Fraser Smith is going very slowly as well. I want to know how Draycott ended up in the air like that, and somehow he hasn't got a slowdown from it, or has he? Niall Crowther's trying to come through as well. Niall's gained 5 places in this race so far. Fraser Smith has apparently stopped. I think that might have been something to do with this beforehand. Let's have a look. Fraser goes into the chicane. Oh, in the air, hits the back of Niall Crowther's car. Now I want to see what happens to Matt Draycott in that. No, this was apparently beforehand. Here we go then, down into the chicane. Andy Fox has an 8-second lead at the front of this race. So we may have 2 new winners in this tonight. While Draycott just takes way too much curve, goes in hot. Lundgren maintains his line. Draycott a bit out of shape, gets a hit from Blake and from Lundgren as well as he comes back on. Unbelievable, unbelievable scenes. Blake and Lundgren right together now. And then behind this, Draycott and Crowther right together as well. 2 by 2 they go. Oh, Niall's a bit deep into the chicane. Draycott gets a good run. And some of them take into the pits now. This is the start of lap 5. So this is the first opportunity they get to pit. We've got Draycott, Crowther and Melcher at the pits. Steve Burke and Fraser Smith also coming in as well. I believe Steve Burke is a lap down here. They all bobble around in the pits. Fraser Smith's car looks like it was on rubber bump stops there. Butler and Coughlin are close together, a bit further down the order. They're 8th and 9th at the moment. Looks like Niall Crowther is going to be the first out of those guys to leave the pits. But here's your race leader, Andy Fox, in dodgy MOT. And Andy is loving this. Look at that lead that he's got. Oh, as Jackalette has gone down the order, he's off into the gravel and he's off into the barriers. He's got Dave Waldock chasing him down. Carl's had every panel of that car tapped into this evening. Oh, he just didn't leave the room. Dave went to the left. Carl didn't leave the room on the left-hand side, I'm afraid, there. Big hit into the wall. Unfortunately, squeezes himself into an accident. This is Michael Blake now with Rob Lundgren behind him. Michael's had bad luck in all of these feature races before now. We've got just Josh Rayfield coming in, Morgan Butler in as well there. Some of the guys staying out for a bit of clear air, just thinking, right, we can get our foot down here. Derek Robb's done his personal best. Michael Blake's done his as well. Bring you the pit stops on the left-hand side as well, so you can see who's pitted. Josh Rayfield is now leaving the pits. So where's he going to be compared to Niall Crowther, who's only just coming into the final chicane? He's got Draycott and Melcher and Burke and Smith behind him. These are the top guys that have pitted. You're going to see Rayfield in the distance. To be fair, Josh Rayfield back on track. There he is. So Josh now the highest placed car that's pitted. Draycott down the inside of Crowther into turn 1. Niall doesn't make it hard for him. Doesn't defend too much. He knows that Matt wants to go chasing after Josh, and he knows that Matt is quick round here as well. He's shown some great pace so far. It's close between Michael Blake and Rob Lundgren still. Mike just can't quite get away from him. A lot of these drivers have almost shown some sort of revived pace in the second half of the season. And like I said earlier on, it's been great to watch the progress. Lundgren down the inside here. He's got the overlap as well into the chicane, a bit of curb. Blake manages to make it work though. And Blake thinks, right, I better not fight this. I'm going to come in the pits. I'm not going to be faffing about here. We're on to lap 7 then for Andy Fox. Fraser Smith and Steve Burke are close together a bit further down the order. Morgan Butler's just gone past Carl Jacquelet, who is still on circuit. But this is close then between these pair. Nodaphone and the independent Steve Burke. He's almost pushing him towards the chicane. He gives him a bit of a tap in the rear. Maybe unnecessarily, in all fairness. There is an incident limit, don't forget, Fraser. Michael Blake still in the pits, just coming out of the pit lane. Just ahead of Matt Draycott. Niall Crowther now has Dennis Melcher right behind him. Dennis is on a mission here. Out of the first corner they go down the hill. And this will be helping Matt, because Matt will be thinking, right, Dennis is going to be chasing me down for the rest of this race now. But he wants Niall to hold up Dennis here, in all fairness. He's gone a bit deep into the old hairpin though. Dennis is going to try and get alongside as they go up the hill. Sneaky, sneaky. Andy Fox, race leader on pit lane. Whoa, Niall must have kinked left there just to avoid Dennis down the inside. Almost rubbing doors together as they go up towards Coppice. Derek Robb stays out, maintains the race lead. Niall and Dennis are still so close together. Dennis catches the curb, car has a bit of a wobble. Rob Lundgren's just come into pit lane as Andy Fox is leaving. See where Andy is. Where is Josh Rayfield? Here he is coming out the final corner, so Andy is going to maintain the lead of the guys that have pitted. We have a look back at this, and Niall Crowther has finally succumbed to the pressure of Dennis Melcher. I'm going to look at Draycott as well, because last time round Draycott did a 1:19.3. Oh, of course, Michael Blake came out of the pits, so his time says it's a 1:41.9. Lundgren is ahead of his teammate now as well, actually. So the only cars not to pit are Derek Robb, race leader. It's like race 1, this. Robb from Waldock. And Chris Coughlin is up 11 places at the moment, holding on to 3rd before he pits, doing a great job so far after that incident in race 1. Took him out of contention. There's more points on offer in these feature races, so he's got to really try it. Speaking of really trying it, Fraser Smith, he's never say die attitude about trying to get past Steve Burke. Derek Robb jumps into the pits. Dave Waldock stays out onto lap 9 of the race. So he's got the end of this lap and the end of the next one before he has to pit. What's Chris Coughlin doing? He's carried on as well. So here's your theoretical race leader, Andy Fox. Where's he going to be in comparison to Derek Robb? Derek is in the pit lane. He's just leaving his box now. Nope, Andy's gone through. So Andy maintains the lead. There's the gap back to Josh Rayfield. As the camera flicks just at the wrong moment there. Apologies about that. Where is Derek Robb? There he is, just behind him. So he's made it through. Michael Blake has then got this train forming of cars that have pitted behind him. And Steve Burke is still on the lead lap as well, actually. So Steve's done a great job to stay up there. He's nearly in the points as things stand. So just shows you, don't give up in these situations. It was a big off in race 1. Sorry, in lap 1 of this race. We'll keep an eye on Waldock. Like I said before, very pleased to see Dave finally take a win in this championship. He's been so close on so many occasions. He's led so many races, but just not managed to get the job done when it come down to the finish. Is he going to come in? Yes, he is, surely. Yep. That's him in the pit lane. Where's Chris Coughlin? Here he is into the final corner. A little bit deep. And he's going to hold off pitting, so he has to pit at the end of this lap then. We'll keep an eye on Dave Waldock in what is the very empty pit lane, other than the many fire extinguishers that you can see. Andy Fox has gone through. What about Josh Rayfield? Where is Josh? And then Derek Robb. That's where Dave Waldock was. Derek Robb's pit stop was 0.4 of a second quicker than Dave Waldock, and he's actually jumped him. Oh no, he's not. He was ahead already. Michael Blake has got Draycott behind him now as well. Michael's really not managed to match the pace of Matt. Matt was half a second quicker last time round, and through he goes. So very well done, Matt. Great drive. Steve Burke and Fraser Smith are still having a fight. Niall Crowther's involved in this as well now. These three, honestly, it's like 2.5 men. Down the hill into the old hairpin. Fraser wobbling around on the brakes. A little bit of a kiss there from Niall on the left-hand side of that Nodaphone car. Niall's going to try and push Steve Burke up the hill. Fraser's pushing Niall as well. They're all shoving each other as they go to McLean's bit of netcode. Floor it, Niall saves it. What a brilliant bit of driving there from Niall Crowther. That's the beauty of these cars. It's going to be a 4X, or what's known as 4 incident points. Well, that's Chris Coughlin doing it. Now, Chris has carried on here, so Chris has not pitted in the pit window. So I'm afraid that it's not really going to matter. Oh, Michael Blake has had an issue. Car bobbles around all over the place. Let's have a look here. What has happened to Michael? Well, I'm afraid Chris is going to be excluded from the results in this one, so a bit of a night to forget for him. Oh, Michael's gone deep into the final chicane and hit Draycott. And the car bobbles around after that, and Draycott has actually ended up with a slowdown because of that as well. So now he's got Lundgren in front of him. Fraser Smith is off big time on the exit of turn 1. What has happened here? Something tells me these two are going to make contact on the exit of turn 1. Niall carries the pace around the outside. Oh, the wheels just catch again. And Fraser's around. And he's out of the race. He's given in to that one, unfortunately. So Andy Fox is your race leader, everybody. Nearly 10 minutes of the race to go. We've still got this battle going on. Lundgren and Melcher making it a Matt Draycott, Ericsson Hizzles sandwich at the moment. And Dennis gets a great run out of Coppice. Melcher down the inside. He's trying to have a look. Draycott moves over. Dennis tries to get it done. Nice defence from Draycott there. Great racing by the pair of them. Chris Coughlin lights it up, leaves the pit lane, but like I've said, it's going to be to no avail, I'm afraid. Down the inside goes Melcher into turn 1 though on Draycott. Draycott again trying to hold the speed around the outside. It doesn't quite work there. He just needs to try and hang it around the outside of the old hair. Oh, never mind. He's not quite got the overlap. So Lundgren and Melcher just ahead then. Draycott after that. Big smack in the rear from Michael Blake earlier. Unfortunately dropping down a little bit. Keeps it nice and tidy. Through there though. He's shown some great pace in the independence classes, Draycott. But Dennis Melcher, of course, Lord of the Jetta, as we know him, leading the championship. He's going to lose a couple of places to Dave Waldock as Josh Rayfield has gone off the circuit. So he's going to lose even more points to Waldock if he can get through. It's not enough, but Derek Robb back into the lead of the race. What's happened to Josh here? Has he dipped a wheel onto the grass as he gets on the brakes? Oh, the car just bounces wide and then it's a wheel on the grass on the outside of the corner. And he's gone way off. Now Draycott wants these two in front of him to start battling here, and so does Michael Blake. He wants in on this as well. Chris Coughlin is just holding on to 10th place. Dennis looks down the inside of his teammate very late there. There's going to be a contact on the exit, is there? No? Not quite. We'll go on board with Draycott and see what this looks like from here. He's got Lundgren on his left, actually. So maybe we ought to go outside this view and see. Draycott has cleared Lundgren already, so well done. Nicely done, opportunistic as ever. Looks down the inside of Melchett. He's thinking, come on then, let's have a scrap. Lundgren, pokes his nose in, opens the door. I think Dave Addison described it as a door ajar. Look at this lot. You just saw them at the top of your shot then. This is Rayfield with Waldock and Rob. There's been contact here somewhere, because Josh's car was not that damaged before this bit. Let's have a look here what happened. Because Waldock really did close in on the pair of them. Oh, more contact. As they go up the hill. Oh, it was literally as we came to it, as the two of them come around the corner. Oh, it's a bit harsh, that damage. As there's more contact now. Rayfield rubbing all up the side of Derek Robb's car. Of course, Andy Fox in the race lead's going to be happy, because this means that he can get away. Lundgren has stayed in front of Draycott, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. Waldock's going to be holding back from this battle now, because he's thinking, well, just get some championship points. Of course, Rayfield third in the championship. Dave Waldock second in the championship. So he's just hoping there's not too much that he loses out on here. As long as he stays with Rayfield just in front, it should be okay. That's Morgan Butler down the inside of Niall Crowther. The two of them very close together. They've been swapping places for the last lap or so. In 11th and 12th. Of course, whoever finishes there will gain a position from Chris Coughlin, because Chris will not be classified in this one, I'm afraid, for not stopping in the pit window. Onto the brakes then, Derek Robb. He takes a very shallow line into the chicane. Andy Fox doing 120.9 in front of these guys. Let's see what laps they do. Or as Melchett runs wide in the background. 121.2, 21.1, and a 20.7 for Dave Waldock. So Waldock quicker than the race leader that time round, but he's got these pair fighting in front of him. So they've lost a bit of time now. 7-second lead for Andy Fox. He's going to be absolutely loving it. Here's this lot behind. Dennis Melchett ahead of Lundgren, ahead of Draycott. Michael Blake just 1.3 seconds back. So he's going to get some championship points, but not a considerable amount. As Josh Rayfield's off the circuit sideways. And Dave Waldock goes up into third place. Let's see what's happened here. We've seen a lot of incidents with Josh this evening. It's been a bit of a cannonball into the old hairpin, turns in. I don't think he expected Dave to be there. Just a rub on the exit. And that was that. Still close between Butler and Crowther as far down the order as they are. You can see the understeer in these Jetters, can't you? It's fantastic. Hell of a lot of fun this championship so far. Josh Rayfield isn't too far ahead of Dennis Melchett now. Wait for Dennis to come into shot. Well, there he is. These two, of course, fighting in the championship. Dennis is doing all he needs to do at the moment just to make sure that gap doesn't open up too much. Because Dave Waldock will have gained points on him tonight, but not loads. You can see the green visor of Steve Burke there glinting away in the background. Looks fantastic. Again, Morgan Butler and Niall Crowther right together as they cross the line. These two having a great scrap. Neither of them want to give an inch here. Oh, Niall has a bit of a wobble on the brakes. Morgan turns in where he normally does. And a little bit of contact for the pair of them. Lundgren and Draycott both off the circuit as they go through the old hairpin. Blake and Burke as well right together. These two, of course, came together at the end of the last race. Steve turned in. Bounced off the front of Michael's car. Rayfield and Melchett swapping places as well just in front of this. Don't make contact, boys. Josh not giving all the room in the world. Into Coppice. Melchett just needs to play this safe now. Otherwise, he's going to lose valuable championship points to Dave Waldock, who is third in this race. Still puts his nose down the inside, though, into the final chicane. Side by side they go. Onto the brakes a bit earlier is Josh. Dennis Melchett goes through into 4th position. Although Josh gets a really good run on the exit. Still side by side. 22 minutes of this 25-minute race gone. Oh, Lundgren looks a bit out of shape on the brakes. A little bit of contact there as well. Niall Crowther's come in the pit lane. I believe he may have hit the incident limit. Be surprised if he has, whether it's damage or not. Yeah, he's going to be going straight through the pits. That is definitely a drive-through penalty. Dennis Melchett just struggling to hold on to this at the moment. Lundgren there pushing Rayfield up the hill. Draycott wants to try and get involved, but he's not going to get the chance, I don't think. I think we'll get 2 more laps after this one. This is so close and such great battling as well. We've seen this all season from these guys and it's been amazing. 2 race meetings to go after this. Melchett turns in. Lundgren is now down the inside of Rayfield. The 2 of them rubbing panels. Josh's car very second hand by this point. Oh, Dennis is actually slow on the right hand side. Has he got a slowdown? Did he take too much curb, or is he just trying to give his teammate the slipstream? I think it was the latter. Onto the brakes they go. Lundgren goes late on the brakes. Josh turns in. Bit of contact. 2 cars wobble around. Draycott's going to be there to pick up the pieces here. And it's close as well between Waldock and Rob again. These 2 battled for the win in race 1. Now they're battling for 2nd place in race 2. But we do have to look back at this. I'm sorry, because Steve Burke has managed to get through past Draycott and Rayfield somehow. I'm really not sure how Steve's done that, because that's just absolute masterstroke from Steve Burke. Let's have a look. So all this kicks off in front of him. Draycott seems to get a run. Steve just smooths it out. Look at the run he gets out the final corner. And I've said don't make it 3 wide this season, boys, but through the middle goes Steve Burke. Beautifully done. It's still going on, though. He's still got Rayfield, Draycott and Blake behind him. But with just under a minute to go in this race, Andy Fox, immaculate drive so far from the front. And pole position has certainly worked for him in the number 21 Dodge MOT car. He's going to get another lap, though, after this one, so this is definitely not over between these guys. I mean, we'll go on to Michael Blake and go on the chopper cam so you can see the full battle. Look at that. Beautiful scenes here in the late afternoon setting on iRacing. I hope you're enjoying the stream though, everybody. This is another fun round in the British Boring Car Championship. Oh, Josh Rayfield's got a good run on Steve Burke there, just ahead of this. But Steve now getting the slipstream off Rob Lundgren. What can he do? We're on to the final lap of the race now. Andy Fox leading the way by 14 seconds. Sorry, 7 seconds. Over 2nd place Dave Waldock. Steve tries to carry the pace around the outside. Into the back of Lundgren. Josh Rayfield's got the run on the exit of turn 1 though. Side by side down the Craners. Make sure they all give each other room. Bit of grass being churned up there by Draycott. He's got the front row seat. That's the old hairpin. Steve looks down the inside of Lundgren, but Josh is there. Josh goes very deep. There's contact on the exit. Little bit of argy-bargy, scrapey. Get out of the way, he says. Josh squeezed him a little bit there. Steve was still down the inside. And he loses out and drops a couple of spots. But we have to look at this man, Andy Fox. And I know Ian is going to be very happy with the clap emojis in chat, but we've had 2 brand new winners this evening in the British Boring Car Championship, and Donington is the fruitful one for Andy Fox, and understandably weaving side to side, very happy, takes the win in round 12 of the British Boring Car Championship. Dave Waldock rounds out a fantastic evening, 1st and 2nd for him. Derek Robb finishing in 3rd place. Great performance, gets the final podium spot. Dennis Melchett's going to finish 4th. Rob Lundgren finishes just ahead of this lot. That's Burke winning the independent class in round 12 ahead of Draycott, Blake, Rayfield and Chris Coughlin there crossing the line in the background, but he will be excluded from the results. He did not pit in the pit window, so Morgan Butler is going to get the final championship point there. And there he goes. Carl Jacquelet is going to finish in 12th position, and Niall Crowther unfortunately finishing in unlucky 13. But wow, what a brilliant race that was. Another very exciting one for us, but Andy Fox is your race winner in the British Boring Car Championship, and rightly so. He's been a great character all season. He's shown so much pace, and there are drivers and series organisers as well that will agree with me on this, that I used to commentate on Andy in the Sim Racers World TCR series, and he won't mind me saying he was a backmarker. If anything, Andy was a backmarker. He didn't have much confidence in the car, he didn't really have the pace, and he's turned it around and he's won a race here on pure pace. You know, it was really nicely controlled at the front, and he just eked out the gap and got away. There were guys battling behind and he made the most of it, and he took the race win. So here are your results then from that one. As I said, Andy Fox takes the race win, beautifully done. Dave Waldock, a great night for him, and Derek Robb as well. He's going to get plenty of points out of this evening. Dennis Melcher, a bit of damage limitation there in 4th position for him. Rob Lundgren, his teammate, finishing in 5th. 6th place, the lead independent in that one, Steve Burke, after a great battle all race long with Matt Draycott. Michael Blake was just in the background there, just watching it all go on. Josh Rayfield finishes 9th. Chris Coghlan, like I say, will be excluded from results, so Morgan Butler will be 10th for that one, so he gets a championship point for his troubles there after his great battle with Niall Crowther. Carl Jacquelet will be promoted to 11th. Andy Fox puts the car in the wall in the background, doing his donuts. Niall Crowther finishes 13th, and Fraser Smith, unfortunately, 9 laps down, does not finish the race. So I just want to have a quick look back at what happened with Steve Burke then, because Steve had an almighty accident at the start of the race. Oh, just a little bit of netcode and massive hit into the barrier. The whole car comes off the ground. Such a shame. But he puts his foot down, gets back on with it, and cracks on. We'll have another look back at what happened to Fraser Smith as well. Into the chicane. Just as he goes in, hits the curb, and then the car bounces around. There was more contact as well a little bit later on, wasn't there, for Fraser? Rejoins just in front of Steve Burke there. I imagine Steve had a bit of a moment. So Fraser down the inside of Niall. Let's have a look on the chopper cam. Onto the brakes, gets it on the exit nicely. Oh, it's just... Niall tries to just turn in as best he can, and the contact just flicks the two wheels together. And that'll be that, I'm afraid. But wow, what a brilliant race, though, that we have been treated to here. Round 12 did not disappoint. So, we've got a couple of people waiting for an interview, but well, where else could you start than with Andy Fox? Andy, that was beautiful, mate. I imagine as soon as they started battling behind, you were very pleased.
I'll be honest, that was probably the easiest race I've had this season.
I can imagine,
it was
mate.
Literally get away from the lights, clean, and then looked in my review mirror after a few corners and just saw cars all over the place.
Well, I tell you what, mate, it doesn't matter from this end whether it's easy or not. It's 25 championship points, a massive haul of points for you. So it will probably put you right back up there with the guys. You must be grateful at least to have got a win, because I mean, when we spoke previously, you expected podiums here and there, but you weren't really looking for a win as such, knowing that you've got the likes of Waldock and Melcher, and even Matt Draycott as well has been very quick. But it's just the perseverance of it is what got you there. And at the end of the day, mate, you still had to get the car around the track in good pace, and that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing right now. I'll be honest. I'm almost speechless, which is very rare for me. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I never expected a win in this. Podiums after the first few rounds when I saw I had some pace, so yeah, I was quite happy getting up there, but I never expected this today, so I'm very pleased.
So you should be, mate. It's a lot of points, like I say, and to get it in a feature race as well, even more important. There's longer to hold on to these things, longer time for some of the quick guys to make their way through if they're a bit further down the grid. So it's been great to watch, mate, and I've been praising you all season, in all honesty, because of your pace turnaround. And I've mentioned obviously the Sim Racers World TCR series that I used to commentate on you on, and the contrast from that to this now is absolutely brilliant, mate. So very well done.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Well, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, Andy? I'll let you go and pop the champagne and have your moment, mate. But give someone a shout out before you go, buddy.
First of all, I've got to give Niall, my teammate, a shout out, because he had a slowdown on the last lap of the sprint race that managed to get me the pole position. So that's teamwork for you. And then obviously my brother, who's obviously kicking around in the chat as always, and everybody else who's followed me on Facebook and Twitter and everybody else. So yes, it's been great fun.
Brilliant.
And to you for putting it all together, obviously.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm very, very pleased for you to get that win, mate. You really do deserve it. So,
Thank you very much.
I'll let you go and enjoy the moment, Andy. But we'll,
No problem.
We'll speak
Cheers,
to you at
Chaz.
Brands. Cheers.
No problem. Cheers. Bye.
Absolutely smashing. Very, very pleased to see him get the win there. That was absolutely cracking and well deserved. And we next go to, well, luckily his car didn't look like it does on the screen right now at the end of that race, but a great turnaround for Steve Burke in that one. Steve, that first lap incident must have scared you a bit.
It certainly did, yeah. I think I just sort of turned in slightly earlier than Carl and just touched the back of his car. Yeah, it sent me sort of up into the air and pretty sideways. Yeah,
it was a bit of a dramatic one, and of course the second hit as well into the wall, all four wheels off the ground. But you know, as I've said on the broadcast, you kept your foot in, you dragged that thing around until the pit stop, and it really paid off, didn't it? I mean, you got the independent win in the end. What a great turnaround!
Yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting that. Had some help from Fraser. He came out behind me and sort of helped me along a little bit.
Yeah.
Good pit stop. Guys did a cracking job. And then, yeah, I think Matt and Michael and Lundgren were just all fighting with each other and ended up slowing each other up so much that I managed to get into the mix right at the end.
Yeah, we saw the move as well. Very opportunistic, because there was a bit of a fight into the last chicane. It sort of bottlenecked everyone a bit. And you just sort of went, oh, all right then, boys, I'll just pop through there. You must have been absolutely laughing your head off when you did that.
Oh, yeah, I was. Just got a really good exit. It's taken me all evening to try and work out how to get around that corner, but I think I've sort of finally worked it out. And then, yeah, Lundgren into the first corner, I was pretty scared. I think he hit the inside curb and was sort of bouncing towards me.
Yeah.
Going down Craner curves side by side is it's not for the faint-hearted.
No, definitely not. We saw a good few incidents around there tonight, and of course on the exit of the old hairpin as well, where everyone sort of sorts each other out. But it was great racing all the same, mate. You know, a nice bag of championship points for you in that second race from that result. But before we let you go, do you want to give anyone a shout
out? Just you and Niall.
Okay, cracking.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Steve. Pleasure to speak to you as always, mate.
Thanks, Chaz. Cheers.
What a character. Absolutely love Steve. Really, really, absolutely cracking lad, and very entertaining to listen to. Someone who he finished just ahead of in that one there, in the independence battle, who had a really good scrap with, well, everybody, all race long. Matt Draycott joins us again. That was like a boxing match all race long for you.
Yeah, that was hard work, that.
Yeah, it seemed like it. There was a bit of contact, of course, with Michael coming into the chicane that made your life a bit harder, but I tell you what, you put up a good fight with everybody. I mean, we're just seeing the bit now where you come in the pits, so it's not the most entertaining sort of backdrop for this bit. But
it's probably the easiest part of my race, that was.
Yeah, well, you had Dennis coming up behind you with Rob Lundgren as well, and then you're obviously in the sandwich. What was it like at that part of the race?
I've gained a lot of respect for Lundgren, because at the start of the season, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but it was like their team was like the top and the bottom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So at the start of the season, it was very sort of a massive sandwich. Everyone was in a sandwich for Ericsson Hills, but obviously I think behind the scenes, him and Dennis have had some serious track time. So I've got some. Yeah, he's quick. He's quick, man.
Yeah.
Nearly as well. He is as fast as me. So.
Yeah, he's turned it around this season. It's been great to watch. You know, I mean, I was very pleased that you boys could have such a good, clean fight as well. Bit of door rubbing here and there, but it was proper.
I had to back off.
Yeah, there was some proper touring car racing going on though.
Yeah.
What did you make of the moment when Steve sneaked past all of you?
Well, I said to him, because obviously we're in the chat together. Yeah. I said to him, I was like, Steve, I'll move over, because he obviously had the run, and at that point, I think even 3 laps before that, I had 23 X's.
Oh right, so you had to be very careful.
Yeah, if I touched anyone, that would have been me over. So,
yeah. Well, you held on with it though, and at least you got 7th place out of that one, and at least some more good championship points.
Yes,
Steve,
that's what 13 points.
Not for that.
7 points and 7 points and 6 points.
Oh right, yeah, for the night. Yeah,
13.
sorry, I thought you just meant for 7. So yeah, not a bad evening all round, to be honest.
Yeah, it's alright.
That was a very good, strong race meeting from everyone, I think there. But I imagine you and Niall will be happy. Obviously, I mean, I was just mentioning before, Andy Fox. He's a great character, isn't he, in the chat? And
Yeah.
It's brilliant to see him get a win, isn't it?
Yeah, I was super happy for him. Yeah. He's one of the guys who's just constantly got the energy. He's constantly in the chat, having a laugh with us. So, yeah, really impressed. I'm really happy that he's got it.
Brilliantly said. Well, just
My
before...
turn.
Well, hopefully we can get that at Brands for you. But before I let you go, Matt, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously you for setting this up. The boys in the chat as usual. And my mum and stepdad and my dad if they're watching. I don't know if they are, but they should be, shouldn't they? Really, with us two in the same thing, they should be watching it, supporting their children.
Well, it was great fun to watch though, Matt. Very well done for still keeping the car alive at the end, because that was hard work. But we will see you in 2 weeks' time at Brands Hatch Indy, which, well, that's going to be mad.
Yes.
Cracking.
Excited.
Indeed. Well, thanks
Should
very
be
much,
good.
Matt, and we'll speak to you then.
Yeah, no worries. See ya.
Cheers. Right then. Well, no more interviews by the look of it. Nobody else wants to come and chat with me, but what a brilliant night in the British Boring Car Championship. That was non-stop action there, wasn't it? That was absolute madness and a hell of a lot of fun. My voice is actually dying for the first time in a long time, but that pack at the sort of first few laps in the feature race was unbelievable. We've not seen racing that close for like 10 cars since the season began, and I'm very grateful for each of these guys for the amount of effort they put into this championship, because without them, of course, it wouldn't happen. And the driving standards, despite the couple of incidents, Josh Rayfield, by the way, a bit of an update on him. Not that that was a very subtle link at all. He's apologised in the chat to everybody about an incident because he had no audio in race 1 at all, so he couldn't hear the car, he couldn't hear his spotter or anything, so if it looked like he closed the door on people, he just genuinely didn't know they were there, because he had nobody telling him the information of who is where. But he's apologised for that, which is nice, and of course the guys are just chatting about it now in the background. But I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the British Boring Car Championship, and as you'll have heard, we're back in 2 weeks' time at Brands Hatch Indy for the penultimate race meeting of the season. Can Dennis Melcher pull a belter and win the championship early? Well, you'll have to join us and see. But for now, thanks for watching and have yourself a fantastic evening.